Have you ever had one of those games that you finish and think, man, that was fun? Why can't every game be like that? Well, this was one of those games. I've been sitting on this replay for a while, waiting to share it with you guys, and I have to say, this is my favorite kind of video to make. No deadlines, timelines, not having to review a ship, not in a hurry to edit, render, or post. Just sharing some fun gameplay with you guys where I get to talk about nothing in particular. I suppose the King George is something particular, but it's not a new topic and there will be nothing really groundbreaking here. She's one of the oldest ships in the game and has been around for quite a while. One thing is for sure though, this is still one of my favorite battleships currently in the game. Tier 6 tech tree battleships are really where things get fun in this game as far as I'm concerned when it comes to grinding lines. Every nation really gets to offer a uniquely flavored and fun battleship for their lines. The featured gameplay here was a blast. We ended up just shy of 200k in a tier 5 tier 6 match, so that's a kind of game that doesn't come around very often. Before we go any further though, if you are curious about my setup, we are using aiming systems, the steering module, and target acquisition module. During this particular game, we also had the Azurlane Nelson Commander on with Big 7, Azurlane Scharnhorst, and Di Revel. But I know a lot of my viewers have made it known that they would rather hear a free-to-play build, so in that case, Andrew Cunningham is a fantastic choice. And to back him up, other free commanders that would be useful: Di Revel for the reload. You could consider Madden for the reload and turret traverse. It's not that fast necessarily on this. Cilliax or Galler to boost the shell damage. I do like Cunningham, not as much as Nelson, but I do like them because British battleship accuracy can be kind of wonky at times, and we show it a couple times in this match. The Sigma's fine, 1.8, but the dispersion can be German-esque at times. Okay, to set up the game in the background, I promised not to rant too long about my teammates immediately abandoning this spawn. I will say we got lucky that the DD ended up getting spotted. He played kind of in the middle and our destroyer came back around and spotted him. But if he had chose to stay wide like this Helena, he would have kept me stuck here. He could have torped and killed me and our other friendly battleship and then just sailed right to our base. I still, for the life of me, don't understand why people feel the need to leave the flank that they spawn on. For me and my small Xbox brain, it's all about getting into the action immediately. You know, fighting, shooting people, getting damage, right? So why would I sail to the middle of the map just to come back? Anyways, okay, I said I wouldn't rant. So, we got the Fubuki out of the match. That was great. And then the Helena conveniently found himself stuck on the map border, and that made him a nice little target. So we're just going to move up, hopefully polish off the Queen Elizabeth, and continue forward. So, KGV, what does she have to offer that other battleships at the tier don't have? I would say the competition is actually pretty stiff as tech tree battleships go. I mean, the North Carolina now is just fantastic with its 406s. It has crazy good AA, great heals. The Sinop is still good, even post-nerf. It's always been good. The Lion, the French battleship, is meme-level fun with a 16-gun broadside. The Gneisenau, say what you will, it's fast, tanky with torpedoes. I love that ship. The main gun accuracy is trolly, but it's a unique gameplay style and it's very fun. Really, wasn't a tier 6 battleship grind that I didn't enjoy, besides Nagato. But the KGV, what it has to offer is pure damage potential. She only sports 356mm guns. That's 14 inches for you Yanks out there wondering. The damage values are still pretty good per shell though, even though they're smaller, and the reload is quick. The AP is short fused British armor piercing, so you don't get as many overpins on cruisers, which is the honestly one of the worst experiences you can have in World of Warships. I'm not gonna lie. So that's good. You might struggle to reliably pin battleships above 11 or 12 kilometers, but in close, it is pretty good. I pulled up a chart here using the WoW's fitting tool, and it looked like even at 10k, she can pin about 430 millimeters of armor. So, you know, pretty solid. If you get in close with the AP and someone doesn't respect you, you can definitely let them have it. And we haven't even mentioned this yet, but the HE shells are ridiculously good. And they come with a 41% fire chance. So anyone that isn't giving you a broadside and not playing ball with you or playing how you would like, you can just burn them down. Overall KGV, I would say you would want to stay at medium ranges. Nothing too far because again, the dispersion is wonky, but if you get in a good medium range, 8 to 12k, this is a fantastic ship. Not the best brawler. Her turret traverse is not that great, and her survivability is not either. She has a 25 millimeter bow, and basically that can be overmatched by anything bigger than a 356 millimeter round. So anything with 380s or bigger. North Carolina, Nelson, Gneisenau, Hood, Sinop, Nagato, Colorado, Queen Elizabeth, Bayern, and basically all tier 7 battleships. So you have to be very careful who you go toe-to-toe with. You might say, well, KGV probably has great British heals, right? Actually, no, they're pretty subpar, and they're mediocre for the tier. Most of the American battleships beat her out pretty well. I think they're good for about 8,900 apiece. On top of that, the HP pool at 60k is just average. So yeah, survivability is not as good as it could be. The armor belt's pretty good. You can bounce a decent amount of shells if you're angled well, but if you get too aggressive and sail too far forward and get focused, you are not going to last very long. And a perfect example of the inadequacies of the armor is coming up in 3, 2, 1. We were angled pretty heavily with the Nagato shells. I can't really tell. Maybe that was a lot of superstructure, and that's something else to point out about this ship is in typical British fashion. The superstructure is gigantic. It's like a big, giant apartment complex on top of the battleship. So yeah, you just have to be careful when you are facing battleships. Anyway, so far in this game, it looks like at this point what I was thinking, red team is definitely circling around towards our base. And this is what happens on fault line a lot of times. It's kind of like this toilet bowl swirl where their forces kind of continue around to our base and we do the same towards their base. Now, luckily, some of my teammates were paying attention to that, and it looks like we have 3 ships going back to defend our base. So with that happening, it allows us to go ahead and keep pushing up. We have been desperately trying to kill this Nagato, but there is this wonderful thing in the game called Will to Rebuild, and it is so powerful. The Nagato is staying just close enough to the Queen Elizabeth to keep healing back. We're getting kind of bad dispersion rolls, to be honest, and yes, he's just staying alive and being very difficult to kill. Other things to keep in mind about her playstyle. Maybe you've noticed that was about the only time that I've even got this rear turret into play. The forward firing angles of the back turret is very, very bad. And on top of that, with the 25mm bow that we know about that can be easily overmatched, a lot of times you're going to be better off if you can get into a stern facing the enemy situation like this. And we finally just turned around because with the both of them together, I knew that I had to start tanking some damage. If you ever get in a situation where you're not pushing, and we finally just stopped pushing, we've been pushing the whole match, you can put your stern towards the enemy, protect your bow, and you have a lot better firing angles from this position. And this is a position I rarely see battleship players get in Legends. I think it comes with experience in reading this situation, but a stern facing you battleship is usually much more tanky than a bow in battleship. Your guns are less susceptible to getting knocked out. They're probably shooting at my armor belt instead of my bow and my superstructure. It's just better for so many reasons. So anytime that you can kind of put your battleship and situate it like this, do so. Another great asset of the KGV that we could point out... Oh, yeah. Watch out for sunken friendly ships. That could have very easily got me deleted. It kept me from turning away and tanking the Queenie's shots. Whew, that was a close one. Anyways, another great asset of KGV is her stealth. As I have it, she's one of the stealthier battleships at tier 6, 13.8 kilometers, I believe. Maybe the Florida was a little bit better in the Francesco, but that's pretty low. And you might say, what does stealth matter in a giant battleship? You are always shooting your guns, you are always going to be spotted. And for you to really grasp it, what I would say is go to legendary tier, get in the grosser curve first, and try to make your opening moves in the match. You typically would be the first ship spotted, and like moths to a flame, you could very well be the first ship that anyone shoots at. So while you're turning, positioning, maneuvering, 5 enemies could be targeting you and mirroring your every move. Stealthy battleships have the option to position well at the beginning of the map and also to disappear if things start getting too hot and heavy. Now at this point in the game, we slammed on the brakes and we are going to back up because I want to kill that pesky Japanese cruiser. I have Kraken on the brain and AP loaded, so I'm hoping to catch this guy with his pants down. Also, you can look and see, keep in mind that I only stopped when I finally got the Queen Elizabeth on the other side of the island, so that he could no longer engage me. And the other thing to remember here is because Aoba is a Japanese cruiser, like the Miyoko Megami Atago, he has really long range torpedoes, so that's why we didn't want to back up anymore. Our first shot on him was a little bit too far behind him, and the shell velocity is just okay. On these British ships, it's not that fast, so keep that in mind. But this next shot should be funny. That is our 4th kill. And with only one ship left, coming around the island, there is only one thing on my brain. Ramming speed. Why leave anything up to chance? Again, the Queen E definitely could punch right through the front of this ship, so we're just gonna ram him. And there's the torpedoes I mentioned. Worth pointing out, if you know your bow can be overmatched by an enemy battleship, try to bait them into shooting at your armor belt. So we take a shot at him, rewarded with quite a bit of damage, and he shot right into the armor belt of the ship, and that was his last chance to take me out. 167,000 damage before we hit the Queen E, and 196k after. I would appreciate if you guys smashed the thumbs up button. Be sure to subscribe and follow the channel for future videos. Hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.